This is a tutorial on time management. Every decision that you make matters. Should you answer an email? Should you answer a call? Do you respond to each post that you have on Facebook? Do you respond to other people's needs? Or do you actively set your own agenda and respond to that? So every decision that you make every day matters. Think about college as self-employment as a student. Plan to spend a minimum of 8 hours every day working as a student. Most students are in class 2 to 3 hours every day, not counting the labs. This should leave you 5 to 6 hours per day for studying, reading textbooks, taking notes, revising notes, building and practicing solutions to problems, reciting and self-testing on existing notes, etc. Students usually spend 5 to 6 hours per day studying. That way you get a lot done in college and you're successful. The only class and study time that you can count toward the 40 hours are what you have in class or studying. Good grades. A smart student is a smart student and makes good grades. Yes, a smart student usually does, but not always. Hard work is what gets you good grades. Management of your time gives you time to study and make the good grades. I have resources for you and I've put it into a folder. I'll go over that whenever I go over the schedules, but the files that I have for you are a quarter schedule, weekly schedule, daily schedule, a time tracker. The types of files I will leave for you are MS Word and PDF. So either way, whatever you need, you can print as a Word or a PDF, or you can use it online. I also have an attribution list, so if you want to look and see where I've got a lot of my information from, there is different reading texts and photographs and sources for these schedules. So I have all of the attribution available for you to find. There's also a daily planner, planner examples, and a weekly and hourly planner, and a to-do list. The road to success. There are 3 parts to time management: controlling your time, setting your own agenda, and developing management skills in using scheduling. Control your time. Very important to control your time. Look at this student by himself studying. Nobody is there to bother him. He doesn't have a phone. There's no phone there. It's just his books. No computer. He's just studying and taking notes. Control your time. The first exercise that I want you to do is tracking your time for the minimum of 2 days. It can be longer, but I want you to use at least one weekend and one weekday day to track. Document everything. Anything that takes a minimum of 5 minutes. You're going to be spent on the phone with one person for 5 minutes. Don't change what you do. You want to track exactly what you do so you start to see where you use or misuse your time. Here is an example of the document. That is available for you. Time Tracker is on your in Blackboard for you, so you can pull that up and print it or use it this way. So I want you to keep track of everything from sleeping, getting dressed, preparing meals. Track everything. Facebook, watching TV, talking on the phone. A lot of people do this, texting, playing games on the computer. Keep track of this so that you know exactly 2 hours, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. If you have to add, if you spent a lot of time in chunks, then keep adding it in there so that here at the end of the day, you know what your totals are. Control your time. How you spend your time is very important. Once spent, it's gone. Part 2 of this is setting your own agenda. I have strategies for you that should help you with your agenda. And the first thing is just to organize and prioritize so that you are successful. The end success is graduation and getting a job, a career that you want. 10 strategies are blocking time, dedicated space for studying, weekly reviews, prioritizing assignments so that the ones that are most important and that are coming up first, the tests or reading or papers, prioritize those. Get something done. Just start. Schoolwork is first. Everything else is second. Identify your resource. Identify free time that you can use for everything from flashcards to rereading chapters, reviewing, and lecture notes. Block study time. Plan your study time in blocks. As a school term begins and your course schedule is set, develop a plan for blocks of time for your typical week. Plan times in blocks. Break the time so that you have a break in between of 10 minutes and then return to your study. Dedicated study time and spaces. Look at this guy. There's no cell phone, there's no friends, there's no distractions. Wherever that is, it could be any place that's going to be free from distractions. Turn off your cell phone. Don't even have it on vibrate. No text messaging. Break that habit. Where you maximize your time and your concentration and being free of distractions, someplace that's free of your friends, that they aren't going to be coming in to talk to you. It could be any place from the library to a room at school to a coffee shop where you're more anonymous and people aren't going to be coming up to you and chatting. List the spaces where you can study. What are they? List them right now so you have at least 3 or 4. So if one is occupied, you can then go to the other one. Weekly reviews. Each Sunday, organize your week. Each Sunday, go through, I have the schedule for your weeks, so organize your weeks so you know what you need to do. You can always reorganize. Review your assignments so that you know what is coming up in the week. Write your weekly plan. Note deadlines and exams that are important. And the example, I have a lot of examples from Polytechnic State University. They have great examples online. Prioritize your assignments. Whatever you hate to do, do it first. Get it out of the way. What you'll end up doing if you don't, then you put that off, and it becomes a bigger and bigger burden. Build in time to write and review questions. Also, this gives you time to go through and see what subjects are causing you problems. You want to make sure that you know what's causing you problems so then you can work on that and put it into chunks so then it isn't such a big deal. Get something done. This seems very simple, but it is what you need to concentrate on. Just start. Nothing's going to be perfect, and that's fine. Draft an idea. Make an outline. If it's a paper that you have to write, outline the paper so you have an idea, so it doesn't seem like such a gigantic effort to write the paper. Identify whatever it is on the project. That's the first step. Number 1, use all of your free time wisely. You see all these cell phones out texting, seeing how quickly they can text somebody. Schoolwork first, playing second or third. Schoolwork first. Postpone routines until your schoolwork is done. Whatever your routine is, you're making new routines now. Instead of no, say later. And later could be on the weekend, maybe Saturday night. What is one distraction that causes you to stop studying? Is it your phone that's vibrating in your pocket? Is it because you're used to spending 2 or 3 hours playing games on the computer? Note that so you can now start to set up different habits. Identify your resources. They're out there. You have tutors. Usually the colleges will have tutors. I know especially they'll have math, reading, and writing tutors. If you have an expert friend that's really good at science and you're not, see if that person can help you. Use the internet for explanations that you need. Don't just go through and surf the internet. You can waste hours doing that. Ask librarians for help. Librarians are great resources of help and can usually help with things that you might not expect. They know where to find information. They know outside internet resources that you don't know about. Ask them. Identify resources. Write them down right now. Get out a piece of paper and start to write down your resources that you might use. It could be a tutor. It could be a friend. The internet? Is tutoring available at your college? If so, where? When? What times? Free time. Free time is not free. Free time is not free. Once spent, it's gone. Use it wisely. Make flashcards. Keep flashcards with you so you can just write down things that you want to remember. If you record a lecture, re-listen to it. What is one example of applying free time to your studying? Write down some of these examples. What is an example? How would you use your free time that you don't do now? Could it be on the bus when you're riding home? Could it be when you wait for lunch? Could it be during lunch? You actually isolate yourself so you can go through and have coffee and whatever, a break maybe, and you sit and you review your flashcards. Review. Review your notes. When you review notes, make questions. This is the time that something that you heard you didn't have time to question at the time, and now you say, well, what was that? I don't remember. Make your notes so the next class you can ask about that. How can you make time to review? How can you make time to review? You want to review your textbook. You want to review outlines that you've made in your textbook. Also your notes, whatever notes you've taken in class. Can you use your free time to do this review? Your lecture notes. Right after class, after you've written the lecture notes, sit down and look at them. This is the time you start to fill in because you can still remember what's said. You end up taking brief notes in the class, but you want to fill in whatever you have not, or you don't remember, or you might think is going to be a problem. This is a critical time. How would you schedule this? How would you use this? Make sure that you give enough time in between each class that you can review and add to your lecture notes. So these are the strategies. I'm just going to go over them again. Block your study time, and usually 50-minute blocks, sometimes 2 hours. It depends on what subject it is and how hard it is. Also, make sure that you have brief break times in there, 10-minute break times. You've already made a list of your dedicated study spaces. What are they? Weekly reviews. Every Sunday night, review your schedule, make a new one. Prioritize your assignments. What's most important? What do you have to get done? What do you hate? Make sure that that's priority number one so you finish it. Just start. Get something done. Your priority is schoolwork. What you want to do is succeed at this so that you have the career you want. Identify your resources. Use your free time wisely. Remember, free time is not free. Review your lecture notes. Review your textbook. Review notes that you've made on flashcards to help you study. Part 3 of this is developing time management skills. The time management skills are usually done with schedules. Develop these. I list goals, make to-do lists, plan, schedule, and then stick to your schedule. You have a weekly, daily, and long-term plan. List your goals first. Get your school calendar. List the important dates. You'll see what is vacation days. You can see where you have breaks if there's a spring break. Include goals in your schedules and then post the goals. Develop new habits, good ones. Develop a new habit of working. Also put habits together. If you always sit down in the morning and have coffee, make that also when you start to review what you're going to do for the day. So you start to pair these up. That is an easier way to start to make these goals and stick to them. Start with a to-do list. Make the list, organize, prioritize what you need. Put that to-do list into your schedule, your weekly and daily schedule, and then check it off as you complete it. It's very cathartic to be able to go through and just mark things off. Your to-do list, this is an example, and I have the printout for you. You can go into your documents in the time planning folder. That's where the to-do list is. So you can open this up. This is a shortened version of it. So you want to list, post, and organize what you need to do. It helps by it reduces stress, it reminds you, and it gives you a strategy. You start to be able to list what you have to do in chunks so you know what your strategy is to complete. How? Use a simple exercise to identify your tasks. Enter them electronically or use post-it notes. I usually just use a piece of paper. Cross off the items as you're completing them. You're going to want to plan and schedule your time. First, you want to make your quarter or term schedule. Second, your weekly plan or schedule. Third, your daily plan. So that's the order. The big overview of what you have to do, and you get your syllabus so you can work on this for your quarter or term schedule. Your school calendar and schedule, you're going to get a school calendar. Start to develop this term or quarter schedule with this school and pull out all your syllabi, line them up on the table, and then mark in this overall big schedule exactly what you have, when tests are, when papers are due, when you have certain assignments, when you have to be able to complete reading up chapters. Add your to-do dates and assignments, important dates. Add this to your weekly schedule. Post the schedule, make a daily plan. Review each day in the morning your daily plan. And then your finals prep. Make sure that you put in enough preparation for finals so that you think backwards from when the finals are going to happen. School quarter example. Add your due dates and assignments. If you need to color code, you can mark it off with a yellow marker or pink. Add your due dates and progress, term papers due, and then work backwards. You know your date for the due date, work backwards from that. Put down for your papers, complete the research maybe 3 weeks ahead. Complete a rough draft 2 weeks ahead, and then with the remainder, complete the paper. So you start to break everything down into chunks. It doesn't seem like it's overwhelming that way. Here's an example, and I have this available for you. It's called Quarter Schedule. That is also in your time planning folder. Here's week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way down to finals. You can add to this. It's a document, a Word doc, so you can add more weeks in here if you need to. But here's Sunday through Saturday and each week. So it just gives you, you can see this gives you a big overall picture. Quarter example. What if you have something like an anatomy and physiology course schedule and you want to make a long-term schedule for this that then you're preparing for an exam on the muscles. You schedule your textbook reading, prepare flashcards for studying the muscles, outline the chapters. So these are all things that you're going to schedule in your quarter schedule. Drawing the muscles so that you know where they start, where they end. Where does the muscle attach? What does it do? And then schedule for after the test. After the test is done, you also want to see what you missed and what you need to check. Here's an example. So it's week 1, 2, 3, 4. Here in week 5 is the exam. So you'd put exam here and then schedule backwards from that. I'll go through a little bit of this, but I also have this available for you in the planning document. So just look in that folder, and this is there also for you to review. Read the muscle chapter. Break this down. It's 2 hours, 2 hours. Taking notes on the chapter, another 2 hours. Taking notes, 2 hours. Anatomy lab, review of the muscles, 2 hours. Review muscle chapter. This is Sunday after you've done this reading. So you've done a couple hours of reading, you've done a couple hours of notes, you've reviewed in the lab, and now you're spending review time here. More reading, note taking on the chapters, another 2 hours in the lab, and reviewing. Research in the lab, making flashcards. These are great. You can pull those out and study anytime. Review the cards, see if you have to add anything, and then study with other students. If this works for you, go to the lab and study with other students. They can ask you questions. Even teaching them things will help you review. Review this. So you have your flashcards completed, and you can have a line here just for what you've completed. Review anatomy, study your flashcards. Review anatomy in the lab review, and here is your exam. So you can see were you ready, weren't you ready? What do you need to spend more time on? You have your exam back. Review what you did wrong and what you did right. Spend an hour on that. And then prepare a work list on the answers that you missed. So you start to correct what you did or didn't do, so that you can do better on the next test. Your weekly planner is the most important. You want to look at what you have to do. Write down your class schedule. Include labs and the work hours if you have any work hours. Every day of the week, show when you go to sleep, when you rise. You want to make sure you get enough sleep and not allow an hour for lunch and an hour at least, sometimes 2 for dinner. Depends on how much of a break you need here. List activities that you attend. Plan exercise 3 to 4 times a week. Very important. Keeps your brain working if you exercise. Allow for free time on Friday or Saturday nights. If you need to use Friday night for studying, then go out for Saturday night. Your remaining time could be study time. Follow the schedule for a week. If you're falling behind, not outlining chapters, not finishing reading, add more study time. Count on a 40-hour per week study time for school. It might be more. You just have to see what you need and how hard your classes are. Here's an example of a weekly planner. I'm starting at 6 a.m. I'm going to 1 a.m. You could say 11 sleeping. But put down exactly what you plan to do here for the week. Here is Sunday through Saturday. You get an overall much more detailed plan for your week as compared to the quarter plan. Here's another example. I have several of them for you. They'll be in there as, and it also I have attributions. If I don't have the attributions on the plan itself, I will have that in the attribution list so you can find it there. But this goes from 7 to 11. In your daily planner, I want you to write the daily schedule each evening for the next day. Don't wait until the morning of. Write down your appointments, your classes, how you're going to study. Every evening, check the schedule for the next day. The morning, just review it and take it with you. I have documents for you, daily schedule and daily schedule example, so you can see what the example is. Here's an example of the daily planner. Location, where you're going to be. If it's a study time, put down, if it's library on the third floor in that right corner by the window, put that down. And your activity is going to be studying or writing, starting to write a paper. Here's an example of a daily planner, and I have that example for you. This is scheduled for Wednesday during the day and is prepared Tuesday night. Here's my overall day. Head for home, get up, breakfast, review history notes, go to history class, 9:30 to 11, biology lab, lunch and rest, check out library books for the term paper, take a break. Dinner, cleanup, reading history. Here I start at 6:30, I go to 8:30, and then 8:30 to 10:30 I'm going in the library to study Spanish. Here's another daily schedule that this is kind of more of a planner. You know what your tasks are? Write your tasks down. This is available for you also in that planning folder. Here's an example. Daily schedule for goals. Calculate your reading schedule for anatomy and physiology in preparation for an exam. So if my goal is to read 200 pages of material, and this is dense stuff, and prepared for this exam, I'm going to figure out how long it takes to read, outline, and review chapters. If this is 10 pages per hour, and it might be less, then figure 200 pages divided by 10 equals 20 hours. I have to be able to schedule those 20 hours. Divide 20 hours into 2 weeks, 10 hours each week. The third and fourth, it's going to be for review before the exam. And then you have to outline too, so you have to put that in there. So 200 pages of material, 4 weeks to read and study before the test. So you're going from the exam time back. 2 weeks for reading, 2 weeks for test prep, 10 pages per hour. Read, outline, review. This might not be enough. If it's really dense stuff, it could be half or even less. It could be 40 hours. Make your flashcards so you can go through an easy study. Total of hours, 22. That's what I have here. Could be more. Study time flashcards. So this gives you an example of how to break things down as far as assignments. Remember, what's important about this is to control your time. I have a couple online applications you might want to look at. My Study Life has a free app for scheduling time, and another one that's really good is My Hours, www.myhours.com. Free for individual use. I love free, and it's not limited to one machine. Recognize when you're trying to do too much. If life becomes pressured, hectic, as you see this woman here, unmanageable, don't worry about getting behind the schedule for graduation. So what if you put it off another term? The majority of college students take longer than 4 years to earn their degrees. Time pressures are usually a cause of failure in college. So don't try to do too much. If there's too much pressure on you, you can't get everything done, drop the course, drop one of the courses. Be determined and courageous. Realize that you will be successful if you focus on those goals that you have set. Be aware that following a time schedule and dedicating yourself to studies takes courage and persistence. You will leave the average students behind. And some of these students might be your friend, but you have to be able to achieve your goals. If they help you, good. Maybe both of you can achieve those. At times when you feel lonely, you need to visualize yourself graduating from college. The vision of success will put your temporary loneliness into perspective. Look at this guy smiling. Time management tips. We're getting close to the end of this. Set a time limit on your phone conversations. If you usually talk for hours or you have 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, limit the conversations to a certain amount of minutes a day. Buy a date book. Use the date books that I've given you. Spend 30 minutes a day at least just relaxing with your friends. Stay off the internet unless it's directly related to schoolwork. Don't just cruise the internet. Don't procrastinate. Just do it. The road to success. 3 parts of time management. Control your time. Know how you waste your time. Look at that time tracker. Change your habits. Set your agenda. List your goals. Use the work strategies that I gave you. There are 10 of them. Review those. Develop time management skills, which means make sure you have all your goals listed, make your to-do lists, and use the schedules. Manage your time with those schedules. And that is the end of this. Good luck with your time management. If you manage your time, you will be successful. You can re-look at how you're managing it and change how you manage so that you become better and better at this. Once you're good at this in school, you'll be able to manage your time when you're working better. Thank you.